this is Caitlin here, and welcome back to the spoiler season for Force of Will. And my goodness, I thought that we were going to be getting, quite a lot of spoilers because we've not only got the spoilers for the starter decks coming out, we've got spoilers also for the first set, New Dawn Rises, which will both be coming out in September time. But it's only been like a couple of days, and we have already got loads of cards to talk about. So in these kind of spoiler sessions, I'm going to divvy it up because it seems we've been getting like 2 batches of spoilers each day, Monday through to Friday. We've gotten like some spoilers from the starter decks and then some spoilers from the main set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divvy it up between 2 colours per spoiler discussion video, and I feel like that way we won't be overloading. Normally what I would do is I would talk about like spoilers from Monday to Wednesday in one video, and then Thursday to Friday in another video. But because of the amount of cards that have been revealed already, I can't really like put them all in one video without the video being super duper long. And I'm sure you don't want to hear me talk about cards for like 20 odd minutes or whatever, unless it's a deck profile. So I thought I'll divvy it up that way, and that way we can kind of like crunch it down into kind of more bite-sized pieces. It might still be a little bit long because even after I collected the spoilers from Monday and Tuesday, that's about nearly over 20 odd cards from both Fire and Light in terms of Atom Sekart's deck and his reasonable cards, and the Dragon Lord guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. So we're going to dive in here and start off with the beginning of the week where we had Atom Circuit and some of his cards revealed. So he is a Light ruler. He has Divinity of 10, which relates to runes, which I do need to make a video about sometime where I can discuss how runes actually work in relation to these rulers. But we'll get into that some other point. There's actually some runes in these spoilers that we can talk about, so I can actually talk about them and how they'll work maybe later on. He has a Judgment of 3, which is 2 light and 1 void, and he comes with Energize, so it's pretty cool to see that Energize is going to carry over into the new Valhalla cluster, which is really nice. It seems to be that all of our starter deck rulers are vanilla on the front side, so they have a Divinity, they have a Judgment and an Energize, and that's basically it. They don't have any other ability on their front side, and it will only be when they flip over that they get an effect. At the bottom here it says, 100 years prior, Kaguya's influence transformed many rabbits into were-rabbits. The only true rabbit remaining is he. So Atom Circuit is the only kind of like anthro rabbit going about these places, because Kaguya turned up and she's like, yo, I'm going to make you all into were-bunnies, and they just turned into were-rabbits, which is really, really weird. But he has nice artwork and whatever. He seems pretty simple. When we flip over to his other side, he has Atom Circuit, the Shimmering Rabbit. He's an 800-1200, so he's got quite decent defense. He still has Divinity 10 for his runes. Runes in your rune area gain Quick Cast, which is actually kind of nice, but at the same time it's kind of weird because we still have Fair Spell still on the format, so I'm not quite sure if that means since it's got Quick Cast, you can cancel runes with Fair Spell. I'm not too sure, but that seems to be what it means. Whenever you play a rune, you choose one, you gain 500 life, or rest target Resonator, or target J/Resonator gains plus 500 defense until end of turn. So a couple of options there. He seems to mainly deal with his light runes. That seems to be his gimmick in terms of his ruler. Kind of weird that he doesn't have any interactions with any of his Resonators. It's just like, it's more so that it's just, hey, runes make Atom do something. So it's not like he has specific affinity with were-rabbits or anything like that, which I find very strange, but I guess, that's just the way it's going to roll. Is it finally time? It would seem my services are needed once again. So this is the artwork I believe we saw on the poster. It's pretty dynamic, it's very bright, very yellow, gold and whatnot. He seems cool. I'm not quite sure whether I'm leaning towards him. I'm not too sure if I'm sold on his specific mechanic. But we'll go into some of the Resonators that are going to be part of his deck. So we have Bethor, the Angel of Treasure. She is a 2 cost, she's 1 light and 1 void, a 500 angel with flying, thankfully. When this card is put into a graveyard from the field, you draw a card. Pretty simple, 2-drop here, doesn't really do too much, obviously. It's pretty weak cost for, or rather weak attributes in here for a 2 cost. But you are getting to draw a card when it dies, essentially, or when it's put from the field, no, when it's put into a graveyard from the field. I'm getting that mixed up the wrong way around here. But she seems pretty decent. The artwork, again, is very nice. The artwork in most of these cards is very nice. I'll probably be commenting on that a lot. As long as her wings still fly, nobody, not even Atom, dared near the treasure. So she's just like a dragon here, guarding this one sacred treasure. She's like, do not touch it. Next up, we have Phaleg? I'm not quite sure how you pronounce some of these names, I apologise. The Angel of War. She is a 3 cost quick cast Resonator, which is pretty cool. She's 3 light, she's an 800-800, which seems pretty decent to kind of run of the mill for a 3 cost Resonator. So she comes with quick cast, she's got flying, and she also has first strike, and that's basically it. She doesn't have any other abilities on her there. War is determined by who makes the first strike. Ah, very interesting here. And she seems to be floating about in some kind of city. I'm guessing this is a lunar heaven or lunar haven that they live in. And then this one I think is one of the images that has been popping up the most. This is FOW, or Fool, the Administrator of the Moon. She is a 4-cost Resonator. She is 2 light and 2 void, 1000 angel with flying, thankfully. This card gains 200 and barrier during your opponent's turn, which is actually quite nice. So it means that your opponent can't target her during their own turn, and she gets a bit stronger. So it kind of feels like you maybe want to save her for blocking. Because she obviously gets a bit stronger on your opponent's turn, but she's only a 1000 on your turn. She's also the SR for the starter deck, which is actually kind of interesting. I quite like the idea there. The angels dispatched by Zeus had predicted lunar heaven with this whole time. Oh, very, very interesting. And now we're kind of getting into a bit more here. We've got a were-rabbit, actually. We've got the Sorceress of the Moon, who for some reason has a bunch of rabbits with her, even though we just discussed that how the majority of the rabbits all turned into were-rabbits. So already we're contradicting ourselves in our own lore here. She is a 1-cost, she's 1 light were-rabbit. She's a 400. She has this ability here, Rune 2. This card gains the following text as long as there are 2 or more runes revealed from your rune area. She gains plus 200 and flying. So that's really interesting here. So we've also got rulers, or not rulers, we've got resonators that kind of also interact with the rune area a little bit. So this is kind of, I think, a little bit similar to Sherry's Grimoire ability or something like that. I think the Evil Jinn had an ability that worked with her Grimoire. This one is kind of similar where, like, as long as you've got 2 or more runes revealed, she gets that ability, so that's kind of nice. The rabbits of lunar heaven have learned to utilize the vestiges of magic left from activated runes, amplifying their own power. So I guess that little bit of tidbit of lore here is an explanation as to why she interacts with runes. It seems very interesting. I'm not too sure how I feel about the artwork. Her face looks a little bit weird. I'm not too sure how I feel about it there, but it's very, very interesting. And then next up we have another quick cast Resonator. We have a were-rabbit warrior, who, not gonna lie, the tiny ears make them seem really, really cute. I'm not gonna lie, this is adorable. 1-cost Resonator is a 400 quick cast. Nothing else here, it's just another kind of cheap Resonator to put in here. The rabbit's ears heard the sound of a distant battle. Following them, he leapt into the fray. He's a very cute were-rabbit. I like him a lot. He's got this little laurel crown here. It is actually kind of adorable. And now we're going to get into some of the light cards that are coming out for New Dawn Rises. We have Light of the Moon, which is a chant/rune. So this is one of the runes that you could potentially play with Atom. It's a 1-cost quick cast. It's got Divinity of 1. You may pay 1 less to play this card from a rune area, so basically you can play it for nothing. You gain Barrier Chant until end of a turn. So basically that protects you from chants until the end of turn when this is played. Quite a decent rune here. I quite like it, especially since you can play it for free if you've got it in your rune area. So this is quite nice. A Curtain of Light blocking all threats. You could probably actually play this in either Atom, or I think the other one is the Valkyrie deck. I'm not quite sure what the ruler's name is, but I forgot it off the top of my head. Next up, we have the Moonlit Paradise, Lunar Heaven. I think each deck or each ruler is going to have some kind of addition relating to their homeland. And all of these additions seem to be set in the actual set, not in the starter decks, from what I could tell. This one is a 2-cost. It's 1 light, 1 void. Angels you control gain 200. Pretty simple here. Nothing much else to say about this. As long as the moon doesn't fade, the angel's song shall never cease. Nothing else here. Just is really good for your angels. We got a nice chant here. It is Protection of the Angels. It's a 1-cost quick cast, 1 light. Play this card only during your opponent's turn. Target Resonator gains 800 and barrier until end of turn. Players cannot chase to this card. So that's kind of nice, where you can only play it on your opponent's turn, which obviously means that, you know, its utility is limited here. But by giving something 800 and barrier, you are probably giving you a good chance of maybe killing something that you were using to block and protecting it from any kind of other spells. And also, people can't chase this card, so it's not like that they can, you know, stop it with any kind of counter spell or anything like that. When danger approaches the people of Lunar Heaven, they pray to the angels. In return, the angels offer their protection, which is very, very nice. And we've got some lovely angels there. And we have a special stone, Magic Stone of Omniscience, which is a very nice artwork, I'm not going to lie. It taps to produce light, normally, or you can tap and pay a void of, like, any colour or whatnot. Produce either fire, water, green, or darkness. Spend this will only to play runes. So this is actually kind of interesting that we have a specific stone, can make for other colours, but it seems to primarily just be for playing runes and otherwise producing light. I guess this is kind of like a confirmation to say that dual color stones are not going to be reprinted in this run. Seems to be a heavy indication that we're not going to get any dual colored stones, other than like some of these special stones that maybe make another color, but they have to meet a certain condition in order to do so. Seems like we're no longer getting any like just dual colored stones. I think this is it. Like Force of Will aren't going to reprint them again by the looks of it. I could be wrong. They could actually reprint them in like another set or something, but it seems to be off the bat they are not going to reprint them. So bye bye to that. Zeus sought to obtain all the knowledge of the world and left it to a rabbit to continue his fight. Moving on now, we've got a bunch of fire, and I know that the video is about 10 minutes now, so I will try and get through these as quick as possible, because I think we've got like another 8 cards to go through. This is Fu Shi, I think I'm saying that correctly, I might be wrong. He is the fire ruler of like dragons and warriors and whatnot. He is the divinity of 10, his judgment is 5, it's 2 fire and 3 void, so he's more expensive than Atom, and his energize is fire obviously. The ruler of Kowloon is always prepared for war. Flipping over, he is Fu Shi, King of Kowloon. He's a 1000, Divinity 10 again. He has flying, and when he enters, which seems we're bringing back the enter box ability here for people, I guess because this is a starter deck, we're helping people learn. Search your deck for a dragon with total cost 4 or less and put it into the field, then shuffle your deck. That's basically all he does, so he's really not that impressive for flipping over, even though he's got pretty epic artwork. Not that impressive in ability, sadly. Let me show you what it means to be king. Yeah, so I'm not really impressed with his ruler at all. Next up we have Truconu Soldier, I think. I'm going to butcher all these pronunciations, it's going to be awful. He is a 1-cost Resonator, just fire, 300, 300. You banish this card and it deals a 300 damage to target Resonator, so a little bit of burn. I guess it's kind of fitting because he's like kind of got this some kind of fire crossbow thing, and the last arrow is 1 cell, so I guess he is the final arrow that will shoot you in the knee and whatnot. And that was a terrible joke. Next up we have a Reckless Flame Soldier, another 1-cost. This is 800, 800. This is pretty strong for just a 1-cost. Whenever this card attacks or blocks, at the next end of turn, destroy it. So that is probably why it has got a high cost, because it's going to die as soon as it does anything, which I guess is a good trade-off in terms of what you can do. So you could maybe even just play it, not block or anything like that, and then swing for 800 on your turn 2. So it sounds pretty good. There is no greater beauty than the burning of life, or a man set on fire, of course. Next up we have Tiger of Kowloon, because we did find out that tigers are going to be a thing for this fire deck. It's a 2-cost Beast Resonator, it's 1 fire, 1 void, 600, 600. And his enter ability is that you can pay an extra fire and a void. If you do, search your deck for a card named Tiger of Kowloon and put it into the field, then shuffle your deck. So essentially, whenever you play it, you have the opportunity to pay another 2 to get another tiger if you so wish. And I'm pretty sure that when that tiger enters, it doesn't trigger its enter ability because it was from a search. Although I think maybe it could actually trigger its own enter ability, and you could just stack them all if you've got like a ton of will. But that would just, eventually you'd have to run out because you'd probably not play more than 2, I think, if you're running this card. It's not that the tiger is strong, you're just all weak. Or you're all just too weak, apparently. I like the artwork though, it's a pretty neat artwork. Next up we have Pang Tong, a 3-cost Resonator, 2 fire and 1 void, a 400, 800, so a bit weak on the attack here, but when they enter, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a fire card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any random order. So this is just basically a search for fire cards. I guess most of the decks I feel like are going to have some kind of search ability, just in order to like make it a little bit easier for you to get specific cards. Known affectionately as the Young Phoenix, this young man serves as Fu Shi's advisor. Huh, Young Phoenix. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Kind of bit of flavour here. And then finally, or actually no, not finally, we've got one more card for the actual deck. We have Dragon of Kowloon. So here's a 4-cost dragon you can search out with his enter ability on his J-Ruler side. It's a 12-12. 2 fire, 2 void, flying dragon. When this card enters the field from your deck, it deals 1000 damage to target J/Resonator. So it is Sylvia as a Resonator essentially, but a Chinese dragon, I guess. If you wanna, it does kind of look like a Chinese dragon a little bit with the way that it's got like the horns and the kind of furred mane down the spine and everything. It looks pretty neat. A dragon's warm reception begins with fire. Huh? Who would have thought? I actually really like the artwork. It's really nice. And then finally, we've got some of the cards from the set. I was a little bit too early last time there. But we have ourselves a Rootin. It is Chainbind. It's a 3-cost. It's 1 fire, 2 void with divinity of 3. You have to pay 1 fire and 1 void more to play this card from your rune area. So if you are playing this from your rune area, this costs 5, which is kind of crazy. Resonators your opponent controls cannot block until end of turn. I mean, it sounds crazy strong, but considering it's a 5 cost when in your rune area, doesn't seem that great in all honesty. I'm not too sure how I feel about this card. I don't really like it. It's like, why would you play it in your rune area then if it just costs more to do it there? I'm not too sure how to feel about that in all honesty. We have the addition of the Land of Fiery Ambition, Kowloon. It is a 3-cost addition. It is 3 fire. Fire resonators you control gain 300, which is kind of better because he has a mix of like humans and dragons and tigers, beasts and whatnot. So this seems pretty good for just any deck in particular because it's just fire resonators as opposed to Atom where it was only angels that were getting the buff. So this seems a lot more better. As long as Fushi's ambition still lasts, the fires of Kowloon will never go out. This could potentially also work for, I think it's Isis as the other fire ruler. Could potentially work for her deck unless she's got an addition that's better than this one. Next up we have Scorching Winds, another chant/rune. This one is only 1 cost, it's got a divinity of 2. You may pay, or you have to pay rather, 1 void more to play this card from Rune Air. So it seems like all of his runes are a lot more expensive than other rulers here. 2 target resonators gain 400 attack until end of turn. So I guess that's a good trade-off, like for 2, well, essentially, if you're playing it from your rune area, you're giving 2 resonators plus 400 attack, which is actually kind of nice. Don't be afraid to ride the Scorching Winds. I wonder what that means, if it means anything in particular. Next up we have the Magic Stone of the Hermit. It's a special Magic Stone, most likely going to be for this guy here. You produce fire when you tap it, or you can tap it and banish the card, and a target dragon gains swiftness until end of turn. So that dragon that you brought in when you flipped the ruler and everything, it has flying, but if you just banish the stone, then you can give it swiftness, which seems pretty cool for 12/12, I believe. Was it 12/12 or was it 1000/1000? I'm pretty sure it was 12/12. Genji Tensen sought to find his own path. I guess that's why it's this Magic Stone of the Hermit. I'm guessing Genji Tensen was a hermit in his life when he was still around in this world, or rather when he was fighting with the other gods and everything. And that's it for the cards for Light and Fire from Monday and Tuesday. I will be putting out the cards, or rather the spoilers for Wind and Water, which will be coming out maybe not today, maybe like the next day or something like that, because I don't want to spam all these videos on the same day, because that would be a bit too much. But I will be trying my best to keep on top of these spoilers, guys. They might be like a day or 2 after they actually come out, but I will try and keep on top of it and give you my thoughts and opinions on some of these. Most of the time, it's like I won't have a very strong opinion unless either I am definitely going to play it or I'm definitely not going to play it. Like most of the time I'm just like, seems like a decent card, blah blah blah. But when I see something that I really like, I will let you guys know, and you will know for certain that I really like a card. But I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Let me know if there's any of these spoilers that you particularly enjoyed, and until next time, I will see you all later. This video was made possible thanks to patrons such as Alucard, Craig McCutcheon, and the Carnivalous Waltz.